Billing codes. I want to touch on that because a lot of people are still not using billing codes, and these are very useful, especially when it comes to reports, because this is the question I get a lot. But if you're not using billing codes, some of the reports you can't run for specific patients. So, for example, workers' comp or personal injury patients. Some people want a patient count. How many workers' comp do I have? Or how many Medicare do I have? How many cash only do I have? In the patient's charts, we're going to go back in there and hit edit. There's my alert. Hit OK. Um, Under the other information tab, there is a patient billing code drop down list. These are just examples of some of the billing codes you can set up. Yours is only going to have an A. All of them default to A. If you've never used it before, you're going to see this one that just says default billing code, that all the patients that aren't put in a category are put under A. Everyone else would, if they're put under a different category, then that's what they're going to pull up with in the reports. But you can right click and hit new. You can create your own billing codes. It only lets you do 2 digits in there, so you can do numbers or letters, and then type out whatever that billing code description is. But basically, the billing code is a patient category. You can group your patients together by different categories. So when you do go to run your reports, it's going to give you a filter to select from to pick those different categories. So these are just some examples. So I have like one for cash patients, one for Medicare patients. So just keep that in mind. That's a great way to group them together in categories. Another thing on this screen, we kind of touched on it already, but to be able to, oh, actually, let me pull up an existing patient in the chart. This area here where it says previous on the right-hand side, you can copy over payment address. So if your patient moves or they have a second home, you want to keep both of the addresses on file, you can hit copy over previous and then come over here and add new. You can also copy their name. They got married, they got divorced, they changed their name for whatever reason, copy previous name to the right-hand side and type in their new name on the left. So that's also a newer thing. Some people just don't realize it's there. Um, in the patient's case, there's a few things. Let's see. Few things I want to show you. So we're going to go into the case. Copy case, that's another thing some people don't know that's there. Instead of hitting new case every single time, you can hit copy case. And so anytime a patient changes their insurance, you should be creating a separate case for that. That way you have their old insurance information on file and you can see all the charges that were sent to their previous insurance policy. And then now you're going to have a separate case for their new insurance policy. So copy case is going to be the easiest way to do that because then you don't have to retype in every single thing under that patient's case. You just hit copy case and then you can just jump right over to the policy tab and you can go ahead and just change to their new insurance and say, well, now they have Humana and this is the new policy number. And, fill in the rest of the blanks here. So basically, you're just changing anything that's different. And under this, I can now say 2025 Humana. And hit save. And now I've got multiple cases here to show me the latest one is 2025. They have Humana. The previous one was where they had Medicare. Oh, also while you're in the case, sometimes you're in here and you want to know what their balance is without having to close it out and go back in and go back and forth. If you hit F11, it is going to give you your quick balance. So same patient I'm in, you can see where I changed the name. It has the new name up there now. And here's their quick balance. And if you're doing bill flash electronic statements or eMedix electronic statements, you can print those from here or print your internal Medisoft statement. And so that was F11. Another feature I want to show you in this transaction entry screen, if you're not using it, it's a huge shortcut. It is called the Multilink Codes. And this is where you can set up a group of codes. This is really helpful, especially if you normally or typically see your patients and you're typically billing out 2 or more codes at a time for each visit. This multi-link code is going to be a huge tool for you. In the multi-link codes and in the newer version, they've actually improved this so that you can see here, these are my list of multi-link codes. So whenever I do a diabetes screening, I'm going to select this code from my list in the transaction entry screen. I'll show you where in just a moment. But to create these, this is what it would look like. You'd create your shortcut code here at the top. So you want to make sure to give it a name to where you know what procedure code. So for me, I just labeled it. If you leave it empty, it's going to take the first few letters of the description. So it said this. I would have probably just named it diabetes or abbreviated diabetes screening somehow. So I know that's exactly what it's for. And then you can default diagnosis codes now. Before, you were only able, in the older versions, you can only default procedure codes, and that's it. In this newer version, you're able to default your diagnosis codes that are required for the procedure codes. Your procedure codes, you can default the number of units for each one. You can also default now your modifiers that you need for each of those for the specific visit, and your diagnosis code pointers. So if one of these for the screening wasn't, maybe I just needed diagnosis code 2 for the pointer for the second procedure code, I can default it like this. So you can, and then you'll just hit save, and I'll show you. I'm just going to put that back. We'll hit save, and to use it when you're in your transaction entry screen here, there's a multi-link button in the halfway down your screen. You're going to click that multi-link button. You're going to key in, you're going to select your code. You're going to make sure to put the date of service you need. So I'm going to leave it with today's date and hit create transactions. And you'll notice here it's added all of those. It's added my modifiers. It's added my diagnosis codes and the pointers for me. So huge shortcut with the click of 2 buttons.